Peter, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Thanks for having me.
Exciting times, my friend. We have the Descendants, the Rise of Red coming out in a few weeks. And we're gonna jump into the movie in a little bit. But I was doing research on you and everything, and you started at a young age for acting, huh?
Yeah, totally. I think in my bio on IMDb, I put that I started professionally acting at 11, which was great. I did, I did stuff earlier, when I was maybe 7, 8, little theater camps and stuff. But I hopped into the professional world and I've loved it ever since.
What made you fall in love with acting? What made you go like this is what you want to do? Because I noticed, you not only you're doing the acting everything, but you're playing sports, you're doing music, theater, like you're all over the place.
Yeah, I definitely am. I presume I'm a little confusing to, to the naked eye. I don't know. Inspiration? I grew up in a small town. It was a very artistic town, two colleges. There was a lot of artistic inspiration going on there. I grew up in a traveling choir where I
Yeah.
got to travel around the world, and my director introduced me to some other directors, and I started doing, operas and musical theater, and that sort of transitioned into the professional world in Minneapolis, where I started doing onstage work all over, which was fantastic. It was so fun as a kid to hop into that world. It felt so cool.
Now that you've done a little bit of everything, theater, film, I'm sure you've done a few TV projects also. Like, what do you love the most? What do you like to focus
Oh
on?
man, I don't know. I think I think right now I'm doing a lot of film, but a lot of people ask me this question like are you a film actor? Are you a stage actor? And I like to think that acting sort of transcends all mediums, If you're familiar with the environment, you can hop into all sorts of different worlds, but I think that onstage work is deep in my heart and
Yeah.
it's my origins. But uh, right now I'm doing film and I would love to hop back into theater work, whatever comes my way. I'm more than happy to.
Did you find any challenges going from like theater now jumping into like film and everything? Anything that was a little bit different and you had to like tackle it a different way?
Oh, totally. It's so different. I remember when I was first doing some film workshops and like some student films,
Yeah.
I was speaking so loud for the sound guy walked over to me and he's like, my ears, they're bleeding. And I was like, oh, okay, so I can talk like super soft and the mics will pick it up. And that was fun because the camera catches everything. You
Mhm.
cannot hide.
That's right. What's the goal for you? What's like on that list that you want to hit someday? Role, a certain role, or
I think there's a lot of things that I want to get done. I wouldn't be satisfied if I uh passed away today. There's a lot of ambitions that I have,
mm,
but I also am every time I'm acting, every time I'm on stage or in front of the camera, I'm so fulfilled. I feel full in the heart, and I can't ask for more than that. I think
mm,
that my eyes are wide, and I have some really cool things I want to get done. I One of those things I'd love to, do some action movies. Like you were saying
mm,
earlier, I grew up doing a lot of different sports, and I that's a core part of me. That movement, the thrill
yeah.
seeking in me. And I think maybe I could hop in on like a Mission Impossible type of deal or
There
Top
you
Gun.
go.
If you know Tom Cruise, shoot him a text, please.
There you go. We'll do that after the interview.
Perfect.
Um, so also as an actor, as like now, like you've done, you're part of Disney. Like, how does that make you feel as an actor? You've accomplished something like this.
Absolutely incredible. I
Yeah.
think, most kids in my generation grew up watching Disney Channel, Disney XD,
Yeah.
and those were our idols. I mean, it was so cool. And especially as an actor, I always felt as if there was a place for me in that world. And I didn't really have the means to get there just yet.
Mm,
But I'm so happy that I found my way. I mean, Disney is a fantastic place to work. It's magical. It truly is. It's a little cheesy saying that, but when I'm on camera and we're rolling, I'm in a Disney world with
mm,
Captain Hook next to me. Like, what? With
right.
Ursula's baby sister, uh, the Queen of Hearts. It's awesome. It's awesome, man.
So let's jump into the movie then. How were you approached for this film? Was it an audition? Somebody you've worked with before, and they told you, "Hey, we might have this part for you." How did that happen?
It was an audition. I got it through my
Okay.
agent at the time, and yeah, I was just saying in the interview prior to this that I didn't actually know it was a Descendants movie initially.
Okay.
It's the
Yeah.
title was The Pocket Watch, and it was a feature film, and I can't remember if I knew if it was a musical or not at the time, but I met Morgie, and he was this goofy, sort of evil, sort of ducks like this type of character. And that was, I instantly clicked with him. I became
Mm.
Morgie, and there was something just so natural about it, where I was able to create this character. And I had a callback. I heard back from the casting director the next day that they were interested, which was an incredible feeling because that was pretty darn quick from sending in the audition. And in a few weeks, I had the role, and everything happened online. We were still kind of in COVID time, so
Yeah.
it was a very fun experience.
Wow. Well, what was the description we given from Morgie, and like, and what drew you now into this character and the way like you thought about portraying this character?
Sure. Morgie's wicked. He's a VK villain kid, obviously. So he's in
Yeah.
Uliana's crew, which is fun. But the way I've been describing him is he is lovable because he's a little ignorant, and he's also goofy, and he's kind of like gremlin-y. And because of that, he's very fun to play, very fun to mess around and be with Morgie.
Did you have a chance like to put your own spin in this character, going back and forth with like the producers and everything, like the way you wanted to portray him?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
There was tons of artistic freedom given, which I was so grateful for because, you know, a lot of times it'll be very set how they want it.
Mm.
But in this case, I was able to create Morgie completely. Everything you're seeing was something that I meticulously put the time in and chose to go with. And I I love him as a character. He's been so much fun to play.
A lot of the Descendant fans have been waiting for another movie to come out. It's finally here also. Like, how would you say like Morgie fits in this world now in the new movie?
I think, well, he's a VK, so we have a new
Yeah.
villain kid, new villain crew, and that's been super fun. I think also the deal with this movie is it's very different than the past three movies. We're exploring a new world. We're hopping into Wonderland, going down the rabbit hole, and that's been super fun. But the past three movies created this world. They did a fantastic job, created millions of fans and this environment. So I've just been so happy to bring Morgie into that world, and hopefully you guys enjoy him just as much as I've enjoyed playing him.
Did you go back to watch like the previous movies just to get an idea like what kind of world that you're going to be in?
Totally. It's stupid the amount of times I've watched those movies.
Yeah.
Whenever I hop into a character, I put in tons of work, and obviously I have to know where he's coming from. So, yeah.
Amazing. What would you say like behind the scenes, like with the special effects and like the magical elements of the film? Like, how would you describe some of that environment that you were part of?
It was magical. It was
Yeah.
very intricate, very incredible to watch, honestly. And we were in these big sound stages, and they were creating these huge worlds with all sorts of moving parts. And it was a learning experience too. You're working
Mm.
with professionals. I spent a lot of time talking with, the director of photography, the camera operators, the set designers about how they, created this world. And I found a lot of value in that because, like we were talking about my future, I want to create, I want to produce, I want to immerse, and learning is we're all learners, and
Okay.
I,
Any any challenges with this character while you were on set? Like certain scenes that got to you, you're like had to take a step back and you're like, let's do it. Not like let's do it this way, but like maybe a certain
yeah,
scene you're like had to think about it.
yeah, totally. I think that there were challenges with the unknowns of Morgie and Morgana Le Fay because there's history there, but there's not a ton of history. There were a few scenes we were shooting with minors on set at the time,
Okay.
so they had to leave set early because they can only work, I think it's 12-hour day or 10-hour
Yeah.
day. So
Right.
they had to leave, but we had to keep shooting. So there were scenes where we were we were just talking to no one off camera, which that's when the vivid imagination came into play. and that was fun. It was really fun to create, but it was hard. It was hard, but I was working with incredible people, and I think we pulled it off and told the story.
You mentioned working with incredible people. How was it working with the cast? Any specific cast member that you loved having scenes with, or or if we have a future movie, somebody you're hoping you get more parts with?
Yeah, I mean, I love my VK crew. They were the people that I did the majority of my shooting with.
Right.
So we became super close. And obviously the entire cast became super close, but the VKs are awesome. I mean, Dara, Josh, Mars, Anthony, they're so cool and so unique people, each one of them. So it was just super fun to get to know them and become super close friends. Yeah, I've really valued that.
Amazing. I mentioned earlier, that it's got a huge fan base. They're going to tune in to watch this movie. What do you hope they get out of this film?
I hope that just like me, when I was watching the original films when I was younger, and I felt that spark, that
Mm.
electricity, that inspiration to want to do this, to be a
Right.
part of it, to live and dance in this world. I really hope that that feeling comes across the same in this movie, and that I can pass that on to the kids watching. We'll see. I think there's a decent shot, but let me know what you guys think.
It's amazing. So we have Descendants, The Rise of Red, July 12th. What's next for you now? Any other projects you're allowed to tease us about while we're ending this interview that you're allowed to tell
Yeah,
us about?
totally. I just wrapped up a show called Bear, a musical show, and that was fantastic. I was playing Jason, one of the leads. That was super fun. And then right now, I'm in a film festival right now for a short film Scraps that I did, which
Okay.
is about skateboarding in Montana. Two kids fall in love. It's a coming of age story, LGBTQ, and there's a feature coming of that. So we'll see. Keep your eyes out.
Peter, how can the listeners now and the viewers find you on social media, keep up with you? Because I know you'll be posting probably pictures soon with the films and everything else you got going on.
Totally. Instagram's the best way. Instagram and TikTok. If you want to see my aviation stuff on TikTok, everything on Instagram. And there we have some vlogs coming from the VKs on YouTube soon. Should be coming out, so pay attention.
Amazing. Peter, I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today on press day for to send us the red and good luck.
Thank you, Elias. Wonderful
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
You too. Let's get you back on with future projects.